Hey guys, Preston here. Welcome back to another video. Today is the recap and review of Notre Dame's 27-13 win over the Duke Blue Devils in Week 1 of the college football season. Let's see. First off, Notre Dame did not cover their 20-point favorites, so they won by 14, I believe. Yep, quick math in my head. 14 points, so 2 touchdowns basically. It's kind of this is one of the two ways I kind of said it could go, and I gave my predictions in my predictions video, the last one, and I said that Notre Dame's either going to blow the brakes off them, or this game's going to be closer than it probably should, just due to the weirdness that's been going on with COVID and everything, and it kind of went with the latter. A lot of teams in these first games, we've been seeing teams start off slow, scores going the other way. 2 Big 12 teams lost to Sunbelt teams today, had me a little nervous. It's kind of showing you what this season's kind of been like. There's some teams, there's a lot of rust to shake off. There always is in the first games of the year anyways. Like, I remember Notre Dame's first game last year no one was exactly super hyped about it. They won 35-17. Sort of similar kind of game today where, it wasn't their best start, but they got the job done, and they only build from here. Usually, I've heard a lot of people say, the improvement from week 1 to week 2 is that's where your biggest improvement is. So it'll be interesting to look at what happened. So getting right into it, I took some notes throughout the whole game so I can kind of show you what I was thinking, little tiny notes throughout it. So for the first quarter, I mentioned that the team was slow out of the gates. They kept trying to get this run game going, and it just was not working. Obviously, another thing to factor in is this is Tommy Rees's first full season as offensive coordinator. He coordinated the bowl game, but that's a lot different. You get a whole season now. And it was just it wasn't real creative to start off the bat. There's a lot of, he kept trying to run the ball on first and second down, back to back, trying to hammer it away, and it just was not working. Unfortunately, our highly touted offensive line did not have its best day today, and it was really struggling to get a push. And so Kyron Williams, our new starting running back, was only getting a yard or two to begin the game. And so that, really slowed us down. It was like 3 3-and-outs in a row. A guy I want to take note of real quick was Isaiah Foskey, the defensive end for us. He was really shining. He got more playing time than I thought he would. I believe he's supposed to be behind Adi Ogundiji and Dalen Hayes, but he saw plenty of playing time, and he made the most of it. He did a really good job getting after that quarterback, and he plenty of pressures on Chase Bryce throughout the game. That helped a lot. He was kind of at the beginning stages of this game when everyone was struggling. He was one of the shining things I could focus on. Like, hey, he's having a good game. Even to start it, he did pretty good throughout. Like I said, the first 3 offensive drives were all 3-and-outs. The run game was basically non-existent, and the play calling was questionable. So that was basically all I really had for the first quarter. Just a lot of questionable stuff, a lot of back and forth, no scoring. I don't believe Duke got a field goal in either the first or the third. In the first quarter, they got a field goal, and so we were down 3-0 at the end of the first. In the second quarter, Notre Dame finally got their first down. They didn't have a first down at all in the first quarter. This is where it kind of turned around here. They were put in another 4th down situation, but they actually went for a fake punt, and it worked. It was a 14-yard gain, and it kind of got some momentum on our side right there. It was a great way to start off that drive. Freshman tight end Michael Mayer made a bit of an impact today. Flashed a little bit, didn't have, he wasn't player of the game or anything, but he had some moments, including a catch on that drive. We had a good run from Kyron Williams where he broke out, plus he got tackled by the face mask, which drove us down the field even more. Finally mixed up the play calling. Like I was saying, we were finally passing the ball a little bit with the Mayer catch. And the run, they did a double reverse with Jafar Armstrong, and he took it all the way down to the 2-yard line, and we were finally able to get a touchdown with Kyron Williams punching it in to make the game 7-3. The defense was starting to pick it up a little bit. They forced a 3-and-out there. Unfortunately, the offense responded with that, just going 3-and-out right away. Something I'd note, Braden Lenzy, I did not see him for a single snap this game. I'm not sure exactly what's wrong with him. He might be nursing some sort of injury, because he's definitely talented enough that he would have seen some snaps today. So I'm not really sure. There's other injuries I'll get to later on that are pretty unfortunate, and we'll see what happens with them. But like I said, Duke started to drive it a little bit, and the defense was able to bend, not break. They did that a couple times today, which really helped the team out. It held them to a field goal, I believe, twice in the red zone, including this time in the second quarter. Then we had a huge play I thought was going to break the game wide open on a 75-yard little dump screen pass to Kyron Williams, who more on him later. He balled out. He did a really good job for his first ever start today. But unfortunately, in the middle, I was still celebrating that play when Ian Book threw a bad overthrow for a pick in the red zone, touchback, and Duke got the start at the 25. It was an overthrow intended for, sorry guys, the tight end. One second. Yeah, Tommy Tremble. It basically went through Tremble's fingertips, flew in the air, and then the Duke corner got it. Ian Book was kind of off all day, if I'm being honest. Not his best game. He was 19 for 31 for 263 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. There was 2 picks technically, but the second one did get wiped away because the Duke player was offsides. Now we can hopefully give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he knew he was offside, so he did one of those, just throw it up, see what happens. But it was definitely a bad play and an overthrow. Like I said, 19 to 31 is not great. There's just a lot of most of his balls. He did this a lot. He's done this throughout his career, though, unfortunately. But it was really worse today, where pretty much every throw was either too high or too low, and a lot of them had way too much pressure on it. It's like he could only throw bullets the whole game, even on tiny little screen passes where he has to fit a ball in nicely. He's just chucking it as hard as he can, which led to there was some drops today. This wide receiver core really struggled, which we'll get to. So after that, the defense managed to hold, which was nice. And so right before half, Notre Dame actually had a good drive going. Joe Wilkins, who filled in, I forgot to mention this, Bennett Skowronek, the Northwestern transfer who was listed as our starting outside wide receiver and wide receiver 1 for this game, went down. He didn't have any production this game when he was in. He got injured, like I said, in the second quarter. He had 2 targets, no receptions when he went down. I hope he heals up quick, but he definitely did not make much of an impact. But I'm not going to, never want to cheer for an injury. So I wish him the best. Hope he can get back. We definitely need more. The more receivers, the better. But after that, the defense got a forced fumble turnover that... Wait, no, that's early. Sorry, that's later. So, right before the end of the half, Joe Wilkins came in to replace Skowronek and actually made plays. He's pretty much the only wide receiver that did today outside of one other time. That led to Notre Dame getting a 48-yard field goal. A good kick by Jonathan Dorr, who's been pretty solid his whole career, to get the halftime up 10-6. Start of the third, we thought, okay, it's after halftime now. It's kind of where we come out swinging, bust this game open. But the offense went nowhere to start that, and we found out Skowronek was going to miss the rest of the game. But after that, after the offense did nothing, the defense actually came up clutch with a forced fumble by Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who's obviously a beast, one of the top draft prospects we have on our team. But unfortunately, during that play, our other best player, our best defensive player, our second best if you have Koramoah first, Kyle Hamilton, went down and was holding his knee/ankle. We're still, as the time recording this video, I'm still not sure exactly what happened to him. We did get to see him on the sidelines on the bench, though, so he didn't have to go back to the locker room, which means hopefully it's not super serious, and they just kept him out the rest of the game because by the time they kind of figured it out, it seemed like we still had the game kind of on lock, So, yeah, DJ Brown came in for him the rest of the game, I believe, is who played most of his snaps. So I guess transfer Isaiah Pryor is going to have to wait to make an impact and to make enough of an impact in camp, as DJ Brown still is ahead of him. I guess Houston Griffin, I don't know, maybe he's only the backup for that spot where Sean Crawford is, but he didn't really get out on the field much either today. So after the turnover, though, the defense did capitalize with Kyron Williams breaking one out for a 23-yard touchdown run on 4th down. It was 4th and 1. We went for it. He broke through, got that touchdown. Great play by Kyron Williams, who turns out, based off this game, the man is deadly in space. If the offensive line can block properly and he has a hole to go through, he can hit that hole and make people miss in space. So he flashed a lot today. There's a lot of potential there. We just need everyone else to start flashing around him. He almost carried the offense single-handedly during portions of this game. And yes, some of the stuff you can look at where he was only getting those 1-yard gains I said from the beginning, but that was because he was running into the brick walls. There was nowhere to go, and you can't really put that on a running back. So he really had a solid game if you just look a little deeper into it. After that touchdown drive, Notre Dame led 17-6. There was a pretty bad unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Crawford. I want to mention that. I like Crawford, but that was a mistake you really can't afford to make, even if you're winning 17-6. It's not something you want to do. And, especially Crawford's like a 5th-year senior and a team captain. That's not a mistake you can make. He missed on a pick and then kicked the ball, which is that's an automatic unsportsmanlike, not something he should do. He knows better. Just got to get better at that. Hopefully he won't make that mistake again. We were pinned back, and so the punt wasn't great. It probably could have a little bit further, but it was definitely a hard punt for sure. But it gave Duke pretty solid field position. They drove down the 40 yards or whatever they needed and scored on a quarterback sneak to make the game 17-13. I'm going to go through this a little quicker because if you're watching this, you've probably seen the game already. In the fourth quarter, Michael Meyer made another solid play on 3rd and 8. He shrugged off about 2 defenders to get to the first down. I mentioned again how Ian Book was kind of struggling to connect with these wide receivers, going too high or too low with too much power on a lot of them. And then after that, though, they drove a little bit more, and Avery Davis had a beautiful touchdown catch in the back of the end zone. Nice contested grab by the slot receiver, Avery Davis, who originally came here as a quarterback. Very good job. Freshman running back Chris Tyree made a pretty good 20, 25-ish yard run in the fourth quarter. Nice play by him. I mentioned that Meyer and Tyree, both our top 2 freshmen in this class, did flash their potential today. One thing I would note is maybe be interested to be on the lookout for Jordan Johnson, the wide receiver, who was also a 5-star at some point, ended up being a really high 4-star. I did not see much of him today. I'm not sure if he saw the field. He's maybe someone to look at as this wide receiver core really struggled today and might need to mix it up. To end it, Notre Dame drove down, got another field goal, sealed the game at 27-13. Duke tried to get another scoring drive in, but there was sacks by Kurt Hinish, the nose guard, and Owusu Kormoa again. And Chase Bryce kind of just fumbled the ball by himself, which really wrapped up the game. Ade Ogundiji got the fumble recovery. Notre Dame ran the game out and won 27-13. So, like I said, they struggled a little bit out the gate, winning by 14. Week 1 last year, they won by 18. Kind of similar stuff, ACC opponent team. People started to crap on them a little bit afterwards. But knowing this team and knowing most teams in this situation, they'll get better as they go. Luckily, they get a team like USF South Florida next week, so not a giant challenge. They should be able to win, and hopefully they can shake even more of the rust off and really start to figure out where this depth chart kind of falls in, because clearly the wide receivers they had originally might need some shaking up. Stats-wise, your player of the game on offense has 110% Kyron Williams. He was your leading rusher and your leading receiver, which is, it's not a great sign when that happens, but it's good for Williams. He had 19 carries for 112 yards, averaging 5.9 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns rushing today. Beautiful. Like I said, this is even with all those 1-yard hammer runs kind of weighing that average down. That just shows how many explosive runs he had today, that he still managed to get 112 yards, even though with several of those runs being for 1, 2, even 0 yards. And so Chris Tyree he had 6 touches, but he managed to get 20 yards from that, 3.3. That yards per carry dropped a little bit due to him. He's one of the running backs from the field on that final drive when they were just hammering away just to chew the clock out. Weren't really trying to get big explosive plays there. Jameer Smith managed to get 15 yards rushing on 5 carries, and Jay Bramblett, the punter, got the 14-yard fake punt. Ian Book really did nothing with his legs today. It's something to look at. Hopefully he can kind of break it open next week. I think Duke tried to really make sure that they shut down that run game, especially from Book. Had a spy on him a couple times, so he was only 9 for 12. Yeah, not great. Most of them scrambles, barely got back to the line of scrimmage. And Jafar barely saw any time running, got 2 for 5. Receiving-wise, like I said, your leading receiver in your offensive player of the game, Kyron Williams, only had 2 receptions, but it's for 93 yards. Big, explosive kind of screen passes. Like I said, the kid is dangerous in space and knows how to make people miss. If you give him a hole, he's going to be a very solid running back. Keep a lookout for this kid. He's really special. He's only a redshirt freshman, and I think there's a lot of potential there, and he can keep flashing it throughout this year and for a couple of years after this. Joe Wilkins is the only receiver I said that made really any impact, been going 4 receptions for 44 yards. He was kind of, all those 3 of the receptions, I believe, were on that drive that led to the field goal right before half to carry some momentum over. Did a pretty solid job filling in for Skronik. Really, like I said, the only 3 wide receivers registered catches the day, I believe, which is not something you want to see. With that being Avery Davis getting 2 with the 1 beautiful touchdown catch I already mentioned, and Lawrence Keys getting 1 4-yard catch. A lot of running backs and tight ends today, with Armstrong getting 2 catches for 20 yards. Michael Meyer flashing some potential. Only 3 catches, but 38 yards, which was an average of 12.7, including fighting on 3rd down for that first down, which we really needed. Tommy Tremble did okay. I think most of his drops are more on Book than him, but he definitely had 1 bad drop early on. He was 5 receptions for 38. Not horrible. Your kick return wise, Chris Tyree ended up averaging 22.5 yards per return, so pretty good. Punt returns is not much at all. 1 return for 3 yards, that's about it. Jonathan Dorr did a great job hitting both of his field goals, including a 48-yarder and every extra point he could. And the punter, Bramblett, averaged 43.8 yards per punt. Defensively, your player of the game has to be Owusu Koramoah. He managed to have 7 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. Very solid game. Kyle Hamilton was doing pretty good too with 7 tackles before he missed the rest of the game. No interceptions. There was a couple sacks by Hinish and Koramoah. Definitely both had one for sure. I don't know the rest. I had a hard time finding good defensive stats for some reason. For Duke's side with stats, so your players of the game for me are Kyron Williams and Jeremiah Owusu Koramoah. Let me know if you agree or disagree with those. I think it's pretty obvious, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that Williams was basically our whole offense today. Ian Book's got to step it up. Offensive-wise for Duke, they did a pretty solid job with new quarterback Chase Bryce, who transferred over from Clemson, going 20 of 37 for 259 yards. No touchdowns or picks, though, and he fumbled once, maybe twice, but definitely once, and that hurt his team in the end of the day. Rushing, they did pretty good. It slowed down a little bit once they couldn't, they started having to pass to try to catch up, but Dane Jackson, I believe his name, had 15 attempts for 52 yards, which is pretty solid if you ask me. One second, guys. Sorry. Yeah, 3.5 yards per carry. So after that, Notre Dame effectively slowed down their run game a little bit. The receiving game, they had some guys get us up a little bit. Their tight end, Noah Gray, who I mentioned in my preview video, did a pretty good job getting 5 receptions for 68 yards. And their leading receiver, Eli Pantrol, had 3 receptions for 78 yards. So kind of burst plays. This defense still did its job for the most part. Pretty sure both Duke's scores were when they ended up with very, very good field position. Their kicker also made both of their kicks, so give them some credit there. Overall, pretty solid game. Duke, like I said, Notre Dame struggled out of the gate, but they figured it out. They got it done, and I look forward to them shaking off even more rust next week against USF. Remember, if you're a Notre Dame fan, that game is on the USA Network. You will get a preview video for that one too. Hopefully we can do better, kind of beat the brakes off them, get some motivation going. Really figure out this depth chart, who goes where. Hopefully Hamilton and Skowronek can play, and Lindsey can play. Like I said, we didn't see any of Braden Lindsey today, and I feel like he could have made a big impact with his speed and just the abilities. He's a real good gadget player / receiver, so hopefully we can get him back soon. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more content. Up here's my playlist for all Notre Dame videos, including some roster breakdowns. I preview the games, and I react to / review the games after they happen. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking over here, and just a random video YouTube will recommend from my channel for you to watch is up here. Alright guys, once again, thank you very much. This is Kevin Preston signing out. Go Irish. Stay tuned.